I bought every Marc-Antoine Barrois fragrance, so you don't have to. And luckily, there's only 5 of them that exist currently. I think the 6th one is coming out, can't remember the name of it, hopefully it'll be on screen somewhere. Marc-Antoine Barrois has been getting a lot of hype recently because a lot of the fragrances, or I think all of their fragrances, are made by the great perfumer Quentin Biche, who has been making a lot of great releases recently. I think he made the Bad Boy line and the Good Girl line, all from Carolina Herrera. He made the Le Beau line from Jean-Paul Gaultier. And he's made a very famous fragrance here as well called Ganymede, which is getting a lot of hype these days. It won a lot of awards as well. I actually visited the Marc-Antoine Barrois boutique in London recently, which kind of made me have my interest piqued in this brand. And they have a really cool boutique. You should go check it out if you live near London. It's in the Kensington area, and it's kind of like Alice in Wonderland themed. It's really creative. I think it cost them a lot of money from what they said when I was talking to the assistant at the time. And it's a really cool experience. I like the fact there's only 5 fragrances. It was quite easy to actually access the brand and see what they have to offer. And to me, Marc-Antoine Barrois kind of gives off elegance, richness. Their fragrances are niche and expensive, but I also like the fact that a lot of their fragrances are 30 ml bottle available as well, so you can buy them in smaller sizes, which is quite cool, which is what I've done here with Encelade, for example. So today we're doing a buying guide where I have tried every single one of the fragrances and I let you know if I think their fragrances are worth buying or not. I'm going to go through the scent profile, the performance of each fragrance, when I think you should wear the fragrances, so the occasions to wear, and then at the end of the video I'm going to tell you probably my top 3 from the brand, or what some of my favorites are. We'll start off with the fragrance I have in my hand here. This is Marc-Antoine Barrois Encelade. So this is the only fragrance out of the 5 that doesn't have its own flanker. It's the only version of this that exists. And I obviously got a full bottle for good reason. So how would I describe this scent? This is a very unique scent. It's definitely a sandalwood scent, and I don't think this is a fragrance that has top, mid, or base. I kind of feel like all the notes go and develop at the same time as each other. So how you see it on Fragrantica, I think is actually quite a fair representation of how this fragrance develops. It is a constant concoction of creamy sandalwood with a strong tonka bean note in here. You gotta like tonka if you want to go for this fragrance, with an interesting distinct rhubarb and a sharp and clean vetiver as well. I think these use of notes are very creative, very unique, very distinctive, and I really like it. I like a good sandalwood fragrance in general. This has a nice creaminess to it. A lot of people say that it smells a little bit abrasive. I think this is not a fragrance for everyone. I think it's got to suit certain personalities. For me, it suits me perfectly. I really like this scent. I think it just has great signature material behind it. I get 12 hours longevity with a medium to loud projection. Wear this for 3 seasons in the daytime, apart from the summertime maybe, or even maybe in the summer. It kind of has that freshness to it, but it is very thick, so maybe it's suited to more cool weather. But it's definitely got good versatility, great performance, and I just think, yeah, it's a great fragrance that you got to appreciate by wearing it several times. I love this in the first wear, in fairness, but as it dries down, all the notes kind of mellow down together, and it kind of creates this really nice creamy concoction here. I think it starts very sharp, this fragrance, initially, but it's just a beautiful concoction of these notes together that just becomes creamy. I love a good creamy sandalwood scent, really beautiful woodiness here. That kind of reminds me of Santal Blush by Tom Ford. I think this is amazing, personally. I think you should definitely try it and see if you agree with me or not. I give this a 10 out of 10. Then next up, I have this sample of B683, the original by Marc-Antoine Barrois. Now, this is a fragrance that I think is nice. It's a nice blend that doesn't smell incredibly sexy to me though, but I think it has an interesting idea behind it. It's spicy leather that kind of dries down to a very traditional chypre, woody chypre scent profile of this patchouli and oak moss. I think it's a nice scent. It kind of blends together nicely. It has a nice use of naturals, spicy leather, aromatic, and it kind of is fresh, more of a daytime scent. It smells niche, in fairness, but as I said, I just don't think it smells that attractive personally. I think it's more of a masculine scent for sure. And I think that the issue with this as well is performance, because although patchouli is a note that lasts on your skin a long time, this fragrance in particular becomes a skin scent a bit too quickly for my liking. Around 4 to 6 hours, it becomes a skin scent. It's still there, but I just think it's overall an average performer. And for the price you're paying, it's a little bit disappointing, with a soft to medium projection overall. You can wear this as your daytime signature in the autumn, winter, and spring. I give this a 7.5 out of 10. 32% of people who watch School of Scent are subscribed to us. If you guys want to see our channel grow, to really help us out, click subscribe. Let's get that number to 40%. Thank you. Then we have the official sample of B683 Extrait that came with my bottle of Encelade. And I think this is a definite improvement compared to the original. The B683 Extrait is, okay, they kind of has some of that DNA backbone from the original, but now they've gone a lot more intense, a lot more interesting note breakdown. This, to me, smells like fruity, spicy, leathery oud is how I describe this. That eventually dries down to that patchouli, oak moss, woody chypre from the original. But this is a lot more long-lasting, a lot more sexy and interesting. It has, I think, saffron in there. It has green apple. This is a very interesting oud fragrance. I like that oud fragrances go for something new. It's not just the traditional rose and oud combination that you see a lot. So an apple, saffron, oud scent is very interesting. It's quite leathery and spicy as well, as I said. So this has richness to it. It smells elegant, opulent. I think this is unisex leaning masculine, but I think this can be a great signature to wear both in the day and the nighttime now. So it's not just a daytime signature now, but it's more suited to the cold weather, so the 2 cold seasons. I think this is better than the original. It lasts longer. This is about 10 hours longevity with a medium projection. This is a good performer now. I think it's more worth its price tag. So the original might be a 7.5 out of 10. To me, this is a 9 out of 10, a really solid cold signature fragrance. And then, of course, we got to finish off with the Ganymede, the 2 Ganymede fragrances. So I'll start off with the original. The Ganymede, I actually tried this, I think, over a year ago. I got a sample because a lot of hype was going around for it. I wasn't the biggest fan, if I'm honest with you. I think back then I would have given it like an 8 out of 10. To me, if I had to describe this scent, it's quite a peculiar scent, which is quite cool. I think that's why people love it. It's quite a creative artwork, really. So it's literally like a piece of art, actually. It's a really interesting perfumery. It smells to me metallic, marine, and musky is how I describe this, with a smoothness and a thickness from the suede note in here that I think makes it a little bit more elegant as well. So it's a really interesting musky signature scent. That's more of a daytime scent. It has an ambery quality to it as well, which kind of finishes it off and rounds it out a bit. I think this is definitely a year-round signature. I think this leans a bit more masculine, but some people say this is perfectly unisex. I've actually gotten one compliment whilst wearing this sample, and you know, the person who gave me that compliment thought it smelled unisex in the air, in fairness. So I think this is a great performing, interesting signature that takes some time to get used to, because on the dry down, I thought the musks in here were a bit strange. I thought they smell a little bit old school, the musks, I would say. They smell like a musky scent that would have been around in the early 2000s, actually, is what I thought of it. But I think it's a very clever perfume. I think it's a really clever use of aroma chemicals and synthetic molecules with naturals as well. I think it's a very unique and distinct DNA. I've always got to give props to perfumers for making such a creative fragrance. Great performance, 10 hours with medium projection, and I think you'd wear this most of the year round easily. So actually, I think my previous 8 out of 10 was a little bit harsh. I would bump this up to a 9 out of 10. I think it's a fragrance that you need to try before you buy, and you might actually end up liking it the more wearings you give it. It kind of grows on you. And then finally, I have my sample of Ganymede Extrait, which is a cool bottle design, but people don't talk about this version as much. Is there a reason for that? To me, this smells like the original, but made a bit more thick and a little more spicy. A lot of people say it kind of has this like fenugreek, star anise kind of note in here, or like a fennel seed note in here. I can see what they mean. A lot of people say this kind of smells like curry powder, and I can kind of see what they mean. I think when I first applied this, the opening was quite cool. I was like, oh, this is like a more musky, ambery, thicker, spicy version of Ganymede, like something a boss could wear, like let's say Don Corleone from the Godfather would wear something like this. It's like a cool signature in the cold weather. It's not as versatile as the original either. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's a cool idea. So I can see why this is polarizing. But then I know people mean like the spiciness of this fragrance smells like a spiciness you'd want to smell in your cooking and not on you as a perfume. So actually, I kind of think this is a little bit of a mess, this fragrance. It's a little bit abrasive. And I think that curry-esque spiciness from this fragrance on the dry down lasts too long, and it just doesn't smell right as a perfume. That should be something that you'd experience in your cooking, not on you. So they probably use very good materials, but I do think this smells a little bit strange. I'm not sure who would want to wear this. I think this is a downgrade from the original, in my opinion. Performance is good, versatility is decreased, and overall I would give this a 6 out of 10. A little bit disappointing, but you might want to check it out regardless. And that concludes this video, guys. If you want to try out all of Marc-Antoine Barrois' stuff, you can actually go and get their sample kits. I think it's called the Imaginarium, I think is the name of the sample kits. You get all 5 of the fragrances in a little box to try out. So you can go to their official website and try the fragrances like that. One of my favorites from the brand, I would say that Encelade for me is number 1, and then it would be Ganymede number 2, as well as B683 Extrait probably in a second place draw with Ganymede. So I think those are my top 3. I think they have some really nice fragrances, cool ideas, cool boutique, and I think it's an interesting brand I always got to give props to for creating some new and exciting DNAs. What are your thoughts on Marc-Antoine Barrois stuff? Did you guys like this buying guide? Is it a brand you now want to go check out? If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our previous buying guide series. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.